Welcome to another underwater adventure, this time in the beautiful islands of Tahiti in French Polynesia, and we're here to dive one of the most famous shipwreck sites in all of Tahiti and French Polynesia. This is the WW2 and the Catalina wrecks, also known sometimes as the 3 wrecks, but we only did 2 of the wrecks. And as you can see, Holly's saying, look at this, look how awesome this wreck is. Now this wreck is at a maximum depth of 25 metres, round about 80 to 83 feet. The shallowest part is only round about 12 metres, 40 feet. But you can see all the cables, the structure is kind of falling away and hanging around. But what was really cool is the hull is lying on its side and it's kind of disintegrated, and you get that real like lattice fieldwork coming through, which is really quite cool to see. It really reminds me of the Carnatic in the Red Sea. But you can see when we're coming between the wreck where there's a gap in it, we can see all the fish sitting there in the current. Now there was a bit of a current pushing on this dive, and when we look at this lattice work coming up, you can just see the size of this old schooner. It sunk in 1976 and apparently was a minesweeper. There's a bit of uncertainty if it was a schooner or minesweeper because of its history, and there's not much real information being recorded on this wreck. But as we move along with the current, Holly decides to pull one of our party tricks out. She's decided she's going to ride up the wreck, doing nothing else but riding the current, letting it push her up over. I'll just let her have her moment right now. You can tell by looking at her in her head is like, it's actually going to work. This is pretty cool. This might actually work. She's still thinking about it. Is she going down? I got a bit bored filming at this point, but she did drop over the side and actually breathed out and dropped down. I got so excited about it. But it was pretty cool the way the current just pushed her up the wreck and then she just dropped herself down on the other side. Inside the wreck, when you look around, there's not much penetration, but there's loads of school and goatfish, there's parrotfish, surgeonfish, doctorfish, all cruising around here. Now, the visibility is not the best because we're inside the lagoon of Tahiti, and we're right next to the airport where this wreck went down, so you're not on the outside of the reef line where you're going to get amazing visibility because the currents are really cleaning the water through. We're kind of in a very sandy lagoon. But here we are, we arrive at the most famous dive site in all of Tahiti, the Catalina Seaplane from World War II. Now, as I said, Papeete Airport, the capital of Tahiti, is right by this dive site because this plane crashed during takeoff. It took off and then unfortunately had an engine failure and fell into the water. Now you can see our dive guide is saying at the cockpit, this is where you're going to come up, this is where you're going to exit the wreck. So I move along nice and slowly beside the wreck. It starts at around about 13 metres at the top of the wing and ends in 25 metres. But here right now, as I'm coming to the back entrance of the wreck, it's around about 18, maybe 19 metres if I remember. And you can swim through the whole wreck. It is quite narrow, you're going to see that coming up, but if you do take your time you can get through it easily. But you need to have good finning techniques because the silt and sand kicks up really easily inside this wreck. And you get an idea of the scale of the wreck. GC, Holly and the other divers cruising along looking tiny next to the wreck. Well, we know Holly's small anyway, but the other guys were pretty tall and it still made them look small against the wreck. But as we drop into the wreck, you can see we're just trying to be very careful moving through, not kicking any of the sand up. Unfortunately, the guy in front has ripped the sand up, but Holly's trying to be very careful not to kick it any more for me. And you can see she just squeezes through, and Holly's tiny. I'm not as tiny as Holly, and I was like, this is going to be a squeeze from me. Now I was trying to be very careful coming through here. Didn't really focus on the cockpit at this point. I was saying that I need to work out how I'm going to get out of this wreck. But it wasn't actually that bad. Got out, not too bad at all. But this is a really awesome dive. You can see how well it's been preserved considering it's been down for 60, 70 years. But as you can see, it is a little bit tight coming out, A little bit tricky, especially for us guys who are a little bit bigger, because we enjoy our food maybe a bit more, but generally we're a little bit bigger bones, it's a bit more of a challenge for us to get out. Holly's given the signal of thank you for flying with us, something we learned off the Delta safety ad. But as we move along, we're just playing around on the wreck, having a bit of fun, getting ready to do our safety stop and swim against the current on the way back. It started a little bit picking up for the divers, but I really hope you guys enjoyed coming out and exploring these awesome dives in Tahiti with us.